Greetings, Birmingham Unitarian Church. My name is Bridget Bechtold. I use the pronouns she and her, and I am your interim minister for the month of March. Please join me in our call to worship. We gather this morning to find joy and comfort in one another. Come, let us worship together.
Can't buy me love, 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 love. Can't buy me love, love. Buy you a diamond ring, my friend, if it makes you feel alright. I'll get you anything, my friend, if it makes you feel alright. 'Cause I don't care too much for money. Money can't buy me love. Give you all I got to give. If you say you love me too, I may not have a lot to give, but what I got I'll give to you. I don't care too much for money. Money can't buy me love. Can't buy me love, love. Everybody tells me so. Can't buy me love, love. No, no, no. Say you don't need no diamond rings, and I'll be satisfied. Tell me that you want the kind of things that money just can't buy. Well, I don't care too much for money. Money can't buy me love.
Ringo, John, Paul, and George, the Beatles knew it was true, that buying all new shiny possessions can't fill the heart inside of you. So think of the programs at BUC, RE, SJ, and Music too. They bring you the joy, help spread the love, and that comes right back to you.
Love, no, can't buy me love, love. No, 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 no. Say you don't need no diamond rings, and I'll be satisfied. Tell me that you want the kind of things that money just can't buy. I don't care too much for money. Money can't buy me love. Can't buy me love, love. Love can't buy me love.
Good morning, Birmingham Unitarian Church. It is good to be together again. Whether you're joining us here in the sanctuary, remotely via Zoom, or watching this recording later, it is good to connect with you. As a multi-platform church, it is important for us to build a bridge between online and in-person participants. We're calling this connection opportunity Greeting Our Virtual Neighbors. First, we'll project an image of the folks who are currently on Zoom up here on the screen and ask them to turn on their cameras and give us a wave. Now, we who are gathered in person will turn to face the camera in the back of the sanctuary and give them a wave. Wherever and however we are gathered, we connect with BUC. We are building BUC. At home, on campus, in the world, every day, we are Birmingham Unitarian Church, and we are building the beloved community.
We join with other Unitarian Universalists around the world as we light our chalice We are all flames. When we gather, hand in hand, our church, our community, our home, we inspire, we celebrate, we come together, sharing our light of hope for our shared future.
Please rise in body or spirit and join in singing our first hymn this morning. Enter, rejoice, and come in. We'll do 4 verses of it. Here we go. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Today will be a joyful day. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Open your hearts. Open your hearts, everyone. Open your hearts, everyone. Today will be a joyful day. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Don't be afraid of some change. Don't be afraid of some change. Today will be a joyful day. Enter, rejoice, and come in. One more time. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Today will be a joyful day. Enter, rejoice, and come in.
BUC is a mighty tree with strong roots that nourish it and keep it anchored even during the toughest of storms. We can imagine BUC as a luscious maple tree with its palmate leaves soaking in all the goodness and sunshine every time we gather for worship, fellowship, and community. But we can also imagine BUC as one of the trees that's outside now in Chappick Woods, bare of leaves, yet still standing strong and tall. By all appearances, BUC was kind of like these winter trees, as recently as last Sunday. The building lay bare, seemingly lifeless, but that's only what we could see on the surface from the outside. Even during the power outage, we still found the energy to gather together, our connections branching out all over Southeast Michigan and rooted in community. The BUC tree is very much alive, thriving even, because we have such a strong root system. And our tree has survived the harsh winters because of these strong roots. Stored in the roots is the precious sap that the trees have worked so hard to produce. And in our case, that beloved community that we are building. This sap fuels the production of the buds, the fruits, the overall growth, the things that are visible and provide evidence of life. Even if we don't see this evidence of life right away, doesn't mean it isn't there. We may just have to tap into it another way. Right now, spring is poking its head out from around the corner, and winter is trying to push it back out of view. While this tumultuous effects that it has on the weather sometimes force us humans to take a pause, this is actually essential. This ebb and flow of temperature is exactly what is needed for that sap to start to flow and make its way up to the branches, for the growing buds that turn into leaves, which will capture the sunlight again. It is in this small window of time that we can tap the trees and harvest this sap to make a delicious syrup that we can enjoy during pancake breakfasts. It's a sweet reminder of what the trees can do for us and how important it is for us to preserve them for generations to come. Just as we can be stewards to the maple trees to ensure that we have maple syrup year-round and for years to come, We are also stewards of BUC. Stewardship means taking care of something we value and enabling it to grow. As you're reminded of all the things that BUC has done for you or for the community at large, consider the ways that you can serve as a steward to the mighty BUC tree. What time, talents, and treasures can you offer to help the tree grow? How can you help the flowers blossom into fruits of community and fellowship? For all that BUC does and will continue to do, how can you boost the sap production and so that the tree can grow more buds and bear even more fruits? How can we work together to bolster the root system so that it can weather the next storm? The stewardship team will show us today just how big and beautiful our BUC tree is and the ways that we can all work together to help it grow.
The mission of Birmingham Unitarian Church is to be a free and welcoming religious community that encourages lives of integrity, learning, service, and joy. One way we live out our mission is by giving half of our weekly offerings to a nonprofit organization that shares our values and addresses needs of one of these areas: environmental action, economic justice, civic engagement, and racial justice. We support a new organization each month. Our recipient for March is Transportation Riders United. A 14-year-old Detroit resident, Stephen Hands, decided that the region's residents deserved better transit service. With the help of his mother, attorney Karen Kendrick Hands, and his father, an environmental engineer, Larry Hands, they started Transportation Riders United in 2001. The organization's mission was simple: improve transportation access and mobility in Metro Detroit. Top current priorities are support effective expansion of service throughout Oakland County. Stop the crisis of no-show buses by ensuring local bus agencies pay competitive wages, boost state investment in transit improvement, and ensure climate change is as an important factor in transportation decision-making. And now, we have a video introducing Transportation Riders United.
Everyone should be able to get where they need to go, regardless of whether they drive. Everyone needs to have the options to get around, whether that's seniors who have retired from driving, people with disabilities, a young family with only one car but lots of places to go, someone whose car happens to break down but they still need to get to work on time, someone on their way to their very first job before they have a license, sports fans who know they can have a lot more fun if they don't have to pay $60 for parking, elders in our community who still deserve a vibrant social life, a new immigrant who doesn't yet have a license, or any of us who don't want to pay the outrageous costs of driving. Public transportation can truly be freedom. Yet, all too often in this region, it feels like driving determines your destiny. And even though we have some great public transportation systems, DDOT, SMART, Ann Arbor, there are places that they don't go and they don't run frequently or reliably enough to truly be convenient options. But that's a choice our community can make. We don't have to put up with constant traffic and crashes and climate change and the flooding it causes. We can invest in a different future where everyone has choices for how they get around. That's what Transportation Riders United is all about. We educate, advocate, and mobilize to fight for more and better public transportation and other affordable, sustainable mobility options for the greater Detroit region. We've had some great success getting public transit on the countywide ballot, mobilizing thousands of volunteers and supporters to make the case that transit is worth investing in, and the voters supported it. We had a huge win to finally expand transit throughout all of Oakland County. We will soon see bus routes added into Bloomfield Hills and connecting places like Oakland University, 12 Oaks Mall, and other places that right now you can't go if you don't drive. That was one exciting success, but we've got a lot more to do.
So with this wonderful organization in mind, we are offering our support as a beloved community that builds a world that we dream about. How many of you ever rode a bus? But it's been a long time. It's been a long time. So this morning, our offering will now be received with gratitude. And ushers, please come forward.
Give a little bit of your love to me. Oh, I'll give a little bit of my love to you. There's so much that we need to share, so send a smile and show you care. I'll give a little bit of my life for you. So give a little bit, I'll give a little bit of your time to me. See the man with the lonely eyes, oh take his hand, you'll be surprised. Oh, give a little bit of your love to me. Sing it out with me. Give a little bit of my life to you. Now's the time that we need to share, so find yourself, we're on our way back home.
So we are a church of open minds, loving hearts, and helping hands. With gratitude, we dedicate this offering to the good works of our congregation and dedicate ourselves to its service.
Let us now enter into a time of reflection, prayer, and meditation. We begin with the sharing of joys and sorrows. This morning, the Birmingham Unitarian Church congregation shares a joy with Reverend Mandy, who writes, I am so grateful for all of the support that I've received over the past few weeks. My biopsy came back negative. I am cancer-free and looking forward to being back at BUC in April. This is the only joy or sorrow that has been explicitly shared this morning, but there are many joys and sorrows that people hold in their hearts, so let's just keep a moment of silence and acknowledge those. Spirit of life and love, God of many names or no name at all, be with us this first Sunday of March, Celebration Sunday. May we feel your presence in our joyous contemplation of abundance. May the abundance of winter storms lessen, and may we see signs of spring. And be with us as our joys are balanced by sorrow at the disturbing and violent events in the world we live in. And this morning, let us think especially about the poisoning of girls in the schools of Iran to prevent girls from being educated. Help us in our ability to extend empathy and compassion to all, our close family and community, our congregation, and those farther away, regardless of geography, ethnicity, religion, age, gender, or other distinctions. May we practice our compassion with abundance, and may we be able to extend loving kindness to ourselves and to all living beings, today and always. This is our prayer. Amen, and blessed be.
When I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I breathe out love. When I breathe in, I'll breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I'll breathe out love. When I breathe in, I'll breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I'll breathe out love. When I breathe in, I'll breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I'll breathe out love.
Good morning. I'm Bruce Weber, a member of the Stewardship Committee, and as you know, today is Stewardship Sunday, which marks the beginning of our pledge campaign. If you drove by BUC during the pandemic, you would have seen an empty parking lot. It would appear that nothing was going on. Fortunately, we could connect remotely and continue to have worship services, virtual coffee hours, RE classes, and other meetings providing fellowship and education. Now we meet in person while continuing to meet over Zoom. As a community, we are growing. People are discovering BUC and learning about Unitarian Universalism and the work that we do. We have new in-person activities and increased fellowship. Unlike a tree in winter, we were not dormant during the pandemic. Like a tree in spring, however, we are growing. Our theme for this year is growing together. Behind me, you see a tree. During the service, we'll add leaves representing different aspects of our beloved community. And to learn more, let's watch a video. Hi, I'm Bruce Weber. This year, the Stewardship Committee decided to interview several members of the BUC staff to learn about their vision for the future and the resources they need to accomplish that vision. Eric Sargent, a member of the Stewardship Committee, interviewed Sarah Konstantakis, Shannon Sneidman, and Appa and Stephen Deering. Let's hear what they had to say.
Hello, I'm here today with Sarah Konstantakis, our Director of Congregational Life. Do I have that correct?
You do.
All right. Sarah, what's your vision for your work in the coming year? BUC, this is a relatively new position.
It is. So BUC has 3 visions of ministry, and the first vision of ministry is foster a stronger culture of engagement, stewardship, and fellowship. And this first vision of ministry is really the guidepost for my work as Director of Congregational Life, now and in the coming year. When you support BUC with your pledge, you are helping make it possible for me to work on this first vision of ministry full time. This includes our monthly birthday celebrations with cupcakes, our Action Sunday pancake breakfasts, pasta dinners, game nights, and other community building events. I also support the lay leaders in our congregation, the folks who execute the work of our committees, programs, groups. And so when you invest in my role, you're also investing in all of those leaders and their work in making our community a vibrant and engaging place.
How do you see this work evolving at our church?
So I would like to see us expand our community building offerings. Like we did a field day in August, this past August. I'd like to see us do field days every summer if possible. A future event that's in the very early planning stages is an off-site retreat this summer. I would also like to expand our small group ministry program. We have a few new groups this church year. I'd like to expand and be able to add more groups with more participants, and especially be able to add an online offering, which is something we weren't able to do this year. We also really need to expand our Sunday morning greeter program. So we talk a lot about growing membership here at BUC, and that starts with the friendly faces that greet people as they come through the doors of the church, sometimes for the very first time. We have a very loyal group of greeters, but we need to add lots of new folks so that people that are doing the greeting job now don't get burned out in this very crucial role. So watch for more information in the coming weeks about greeter recruitment and training.
Sounds exciting.
Yeah. I also wanted to mention that in my role, I'm charged with upholding all 3 visions of our 3 visions of ministry. And our third vision is about reducing our consumption of non-renewable resources. So I keep this in mind with all of the purchases I make for supplies for any of our events. And sometimes this can involve one-time purchases of an item that might be costly up front, but saves us money in the long run and reduces our environmental impact. So I always have it in mind to be purchasing things that can be reused and avoid purchasing, repeated purchasing of supplies to help uphold our third vision of ministry.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much, Sarah. It's wonderful to talk to you, and thank you for all the work you do. And have a good day.
Thank you. Thank you, Eric.
Thank you for joining us,
Yeah,
Shannon.
absolutely.
And we're here to talk about your vision and the needs that you perceive for the RE program here at BUC.
So, of course, I think our overarching vision for ministry is just to continue to grow our RE program. I know that there's a lot of families here at BUC, whether they participate in services on site or virtually over Zoom, we're trying to meet everybody where they're at. Some of the things that we're trying to do are find opportunities for youth to connect with other youth, especially in the area. Something that's kind of special and unique about Southeast Michigan here is there's a lot of other UU congregations, and there's a lot of other youth. We're working towards bringing back our youth conferences. And BUC has been host to many of those youth conferences. And so it's not only an excellent opportunity for youth to get to know other UU youth, but to grow as leaders. And having that opportunity to develop those leadership skills and to, bring ideas to the table that, while that's something that I strive for here at BUC is giving youth that voice within the congregation, giving them yet another space for their voice to be heard.
Yeah, something very much needed, especially at an isolated time.
Yeah.
What financial resources do you foresee or need to achieve this vision?
The biggest thing that is kind of our aspirational goal here to support RE is having supportive and additional staffing for some of the areas, especially in our toddler space. This is where a lot of our, we have so many new families actually that have been joining us, and several of them have young children.
Very young children.
Yeah. So this is kind of their foray into spiritual development and religious education, and giving them that space to come together. And at this point with the pandemic and the years that so many kids kind of had to spend in isolation, this is a space where they can develop those social skills and start to learn how to play together and, in a way, start building that beloved community.
Thanks everybody for contributing to the BUC efforts to grow our RE program with the help of our professionals like Shannon Sneidman. Thank you, Shannon.
Thank you.
And now, a word from our sponsor. Today's video is brought to you by you, the members and friends of Birmingham Unitarian Church. Your financial contributions, along with your time and talent, allow us to fulfill our mission. Now, back to the video.
I'm here today with Abha and Stephen Deering, co-directors of the music ministry here at BUC, to talk about their work here. What's your vision for the coming year at BUC in music?
It would be really a dream to have a kids choir again. We know that kids in the service is so critical for them to establish their UU identity, to be able to know that they are connected to this community and have people that are their safety net that they know of in their world, and to be singing the hymnody that we learn. They should be learning at a young age and then just regularly singing it so they can hearken to those hymns and those songs. And just to be singing together church music is really such a joy, and it just brings kids together. So having a kids choir of some kind would be really, really a high priority.
And I think I'd like to be able to see we continue. So we've been ARAL, anti-racist, anti-repressive, has been our overarching theme for the year. I'd like to continue that into the future, but I feel that to do it justice, for lack of a better word, it would be great to be able to bring in more people of color to lead the band. We'll have a little taste of that next week, but to do that more frequently, and it takes, we have to be able to pay them. Right.
Yeah. We've also been used to at BUC for the legacy is so much rich music, high quality, varied music, and to be able to maintain that means that we definitely want to have the lens of anti-racist, anti-oppressive, but to be able to connect with voices, high quality voices from all of those communities that we don't get to hear all the time. And like Steve said, in just terms of diversity in various genres.
Bring in some real jazzers, real saxophone players, and horn players, and that kind of stuff. Yeah, so something else that I have always wished and hoped for here at BUC is that we have the ability for kids, mostly teenagers, being able for them to have an ensemble of some sort, a rock band, house band, something where we could put together and a couple times a year have them play in services.
That would be cool. All right, yeah.
And, I don't know how big we're dreaming here, but a long-term vision, we had talked about and researched doing an outreach program to be able to connect, especially with Pontiac, just being our northern neighbor, but any kids who don't have access to music programs, because there have been so many cutbacks, and with COVID, and honestly, with COVID, just kids being at home, they just forgot how to be able to take risks. And if we were able to make some more connections in that way with the community around here, it would be just UUism at work with the music medium, in more individualized ways, getting kids to come here and do lessons. I know you were part of those conversations too, Eric. And it would be really amazing to try to get something like that, not forget about how important that connection to the community is.
That would be excellent. Well, that sounds like quite a vision, and it's certainly a good reason for BUC to pledge so that we can see that vision come to reality. You guys do a great job. We really enjoy hearing what you do, and thank you so much.
Thank you, Eric.
Thanks, Eric.
Thanks for what you do too.
Have a great day.
I hope you found these interviews informative and inspirational. Please pledge your financial support so that our beloved BUC community can keep growing together. And please join us for a delicious stewardship brunch right after the service. If you turn your pledge in during brunch, we'll acknowledge it on our leaf-o-meter, which will help us track our progress as we grow together into the future. Thank you. Hi.
So last week it was wonderful to greet so many of you online, and we had, of course, our weather. And the choir was supposed to sing last week as sort of the final Sunday of Black History Month. But we all know that every month is Black History Month, and that our country and its foundations would not be possible without the contributions of African Americans over the history of our great country. And we as UUs are working hard to try to continue that fight. And this particular song is based on the poetry of Langston Hughes, one of the greatest Harlem Renaissance poets. And I'd like to read the text to you before the choir sings it for you this morning. I dream a world where man, no other man will scorn, where love will bless the earth and peace its paths adorn. I dream a world where all will know sweet freedom's way, where greed no longer saps the soul, nor avarice blights our day. A world I dream where black and white, whatever race you be, will share the bounties of the earth, and every man is free. Where wretchedness will hang its head, and joy, like a pearl, attends the needs of all mankind. Of such I dream my world.
We Unitarian Universalists are a community that holds gatherings founded on our covenantal principles. And the many ministries reach out to both those in the congregation via activities from the pulpit, religious education, pastoral care, social groups, study groups, spiritual practice, and yes, coffee hour. Coffee hour has even remained an integral part of online services, as many of you know. And it is a gathering allowing congregants to practice deep listening, to make everyone feel like they belong, and to have a trusted circle to share struggles and joys. Many of us UUs have heard the joke about what happened when the church building caught fire. No one got hurt. One of the members came running out of the building and proclaimed, "We're okay, I saved the chalice." Another came out declaring, "We're okay, I saved the box with the weekly offerings." And yet another came out panting, carrying a heavy load and declaring, huffing and puffing, "We're okay, I saved the coffee pot." Growing the beloved community is not just about more community. It is different from increasing the number of supportive congregation members and getting a larger coffee pot. To truly engage the work of building the beloved community envisioned by Martin Luther King also requires that we change the way we think. Instead of thinking linearly about how we go from I to we, from we to us, from us to more of us, and then to all of us, that is what I would call the larger coffee pot model. We have to get more in tune with what social activist Adrienne Marie Brown calls emergent strategy. Emergent strategy is not a new idea. It comes out of systems theory, as several of you probably know. But it is one that has increasingly captured the attention of congregations such as this one during the past decade. Here's an example of an emergent strategy, not from this congregation, a congregation in Massachusetts. Sung Chan Hwa, who is the founder of the Cambridge Community Fellowship Church, which is a multi-ethnic urban church in Cambridge, Massachusetts, talks about advising a group of white mothers in Cambridge in 2015 who lamented that Hispanic mothers in Cambridge didn't come to their morning prayer meetings that they held every Thursday. Why aren't they coming? They are invited, they are welcome. He suggested, why don't you go talk to the Hispanic mothers? So the white mothers decided to make the trip to the other side of town. They quickly discovered some basic things, namely that the Hispanic mothers had no free time, nor did they have reliable transportation. We just talked about supporting a community organization that focuses on exactly that. At that meeting, which was supposed to be a prayer meeting, they didn't pray at all, but they discussed immigration issues, after-school programs, bus schedules, and so on. The power structure became relational, and the white women began to share their more abundant resources, which they didn't really realize they all had, but it included their free time. They had more free time. They also put their white privilege to good use, as they could travel easier, in better car, and had social connections that could be useful and that they were willing to share with the Hispanic women. The partnership, which was really an emergent strategy that was taking shape, was co-created, not imposed by one group or another. It was not imposed by one group on another. Mostly, it showed that when we go from I to we, to us, and to all of us, that means more than increasing and accepting and be welcoming of larger members in our congregations and growing in a linear way. It means something more than that. Fortunately, we are already engaging the principles of emergent strategies that Adrienne Marie Brown outlines in her book. It's called Emergent Strategy, Shaping Change, Changing Worlds, published by AK Press. And I should also say that she's very much influenced and inspired by Octavia Butler. Here are some examples of what she calls emergent strategies. There are many more than the couple of examples that I used today, but I'm focusing on some that we already are applying. One thing that she emphasizes is so-called fractal awareness. I'm sure you've all heard of fractals, those little bitty things that when you expand, they become a huge thing that all have the same pattern. So you have to be fractally aware, she said. By that, she means that patterns found on the smallest scale repeat themselves on the bigger scale as well. And I would argue that this is also the case in the opposite direction. Well, that's pretty obvious, but anyway, it has to be emphasized. Take our UU principle of responsible search for truth and meaning, for example. This applies to all ages, young people and people all the way up to in their hundreds. It makes it possible for young people to exercise agency in their learning and growth, and they do that here in their religious education programs. Adrienne Marie Brown also emphasizes interdependence and decentralization, a strategy practiced by many living things. Maple trees do it. They supposedly send medicine to each other when one of them is sick. And oak trees do it. Oak trees have root systems that are connected underground. You don't necessarily see that, but they're there, and they support one another in storms, among other things. I don't think you've seen many oak trees come down during the storms that we've had in the last couple of weeks. And then there are the geese in flight that rotate the front position, not because they have new leaders, but the front position is an exhausting experience, and they take turns taking that experience. And we see this at work here in this church in meetings that have rotations of who runs the meeting on a particular day, in rotating partnerships with community organizations, and in the incorporation of the congregation's families in celebration Sundays. Let me just mention one more strategy in the list that Adrienne Marie Brown has, and that one is described as the strategy of resilience and transformative justice. And we see that applied this month in our Daffodil Sunday, which we observe on March 19th. We also see it at work in many other places, but this month particularly, Daffodil Sunday is worthwhile mentioning. May our work towards the beloved community keep applying emergent strategies and expand the possibilities for social justice. May it be so.
It really is exciting to hear the vision of our leaders and our staff that we saw in the video, but most of us, we know one another, and we see the reality, the truth of what they're saying and the excitement that comes with it. Their shared vision, it's our vision. It's why we're here, why we keep coming back. It's our beloved community, and that's why we need your pledge. We need you. We need you. We need you here in whatever ways that you can be here to be able to live this vision and to be able to expand it. The leaves on the trees represent these elements of our BUC life that provide a blessing to us, to our families, a security and a comfort, just knowing they exist for us personally, for our community, and for the world. For me, I just want to add this reality that I have become aware with, knowing that just being here when there's some crisis going on in our community or the world, or things that we participate in on a regular basis, I don't have to go find where to go or how to contribute or where to give my money. There's so many opportunities here, so it's a vessel for our reaching out and being part of. So our worship services, certainly, and the weekly gatherings that we talked about, this is a home for our rites of passage, for ourselves and for our family. We want a place where we can come and honor our children and christen them. We want a place where we know we can have a wedding or a celebration, where we can honor and we have a place to be, the powerful social and environmental justice committees, our pastoral and community care programs that we don't really hear a lot about, but we know it's there. We have so much to be grateful for and to really feel proud of. We need you to make it possible and to continue to grow. We need you here to care. to spread your love and goodness, and we need your pledge to make it possible. Thank you.
Before we sing our last hymn, I just wanted to send an acknowledgement to our lovely pianist this morning, Hua Ling Russell, who was playing with us on this piece. And now will you rise in body and spirit and join in singing our final hymn for this morning, Come and Go With Me. We'll sing 4 verses.
Go now into this world as a beacon of hope and joy. Go in love, go in peace. Now that our worship has ended, our service begins. May it be so. Amen, and blessed be.